Welcome, everyone. It's just wild when you actually stop and think about the sheer speed of live streaming.
Oh, absolutely. It moves so fast.
Right. Like, for you listening, I want you to imagine being in a packed stadium with, say, 10,000 people. And then at the snap of a finger, everyone in that stadium is just instantly teleported into a small underground comedy club.
Which sounds terrifying in real life, but
Eh, right, a logistical nightmare. But online, that is essentially what a Twitch raid is. It's this massive, chaotic, incredible migration of human attention.
yeah,
But the second that teleportation happens, who moved, when they moved, how many of them there were, it mostly just vanishes into the ether. It happens, and then poof, it's gone.
exactly. The internet feels permanent, but live video is incredibly ephemeral.
Right. So what if we could freeze time? What if we could map that exact migration to see how entire online empires are basically built overnight?
Well, that is the exact problem we are exploring today on this brand new recurring monthly deep dive.
Yes, we are.
And we are pulling our insights directly from the internal host notes for the launch event of a platform called Raid Follower.
Raid follower, yeah.
Right. So this is an observability platform, and it was specifically built to track the fast-moving Neuroverse raid network.
Which is just a massive ecosystem in itself.
It really is. And the source notes we're looking at today, they detail the platform's creation in March 2026, the incredibly rich data they captured during that launch phase, and the strategic roadmap for where the project goes from here.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of ground to cover.
We do. And to make sense of it all, we're going to break today's deep dive into 3 clear steps.
Oh, that's good.
First, we need to understand what Raid Follower actually is and why it acts as a, quote, memory layer. Second, we'll dig into the massive data explosion caught during its launch phase.
The numbers are crazy, by the way.
Oh, just wait till we get to them. And third, we'll look ahead to what this means for April and beyond.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the core problem outlined in these launch notes is just fascinating. They explicitly state that Neuroverse raids move so quickly that people are constantly missing these key transitions from one channel to another.
Yeah, if you blink, you miss it.
Exactly. So they built Raid Follower. And in plain language, it's a self-hosted service, right? It's a real-time tracking platform.
Correct.
And it combines live raids, stream history, follow signals, and subscribe signals into one big, persistent, unified history.
What's fascinating here is the underlying philosophy. That's what elevates this beyond like just a simple analytics dashboard.
Oh, for sure. It's not just a spreadsheet.
No, not at all. The creators noted in the sources, quote, "This project does not only track what happens now, it also builds memory for the community."
A memory layer.
Yes. For you listening, just think about how crucial that concept of a memory layer actually is. Without it, the history of how these communities cross-pollinate and grow, it's completely invisible. You might see a streamer suddenly jump from 50 viewers to 500. But without that memory layer, you have literally no idea that it happened because of a specific targeted raid from a much larger channel in the Neuroverse.
Okay, I get the appeal for like data nerds or sociologists studying internet culture,
Yeah.
but I do have a genuine pushback here.
Oh, let's hear it.
Isn't there a danger of just hoarding useless numbers? Like if I'm an indie streamer or just a regular viewer sitting at home, why do I care that my channel is suddenly a data row in some Squale database?
That's a fair question.
Right, like why turn a spontaneous, fun, chaotic event into a rigid historical record?
Well, because a raid isn't just a spike in a graph. It's a transfer of trust.
Ooh, I like that, a transfer of trust.
Right. When a major creator brings their audience to an indie streamer, they are essentially vouching for them.
Yeah, they're saying, hey, these people are cool, hang out here.
Exactly. And for the indie streamer, having a permanent record of that event is crucial. It validates their growth, it maps out their exact place in the larger ecosystem.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Because standard Twitch analytics might just tell you, hey, your audience grew on a Tuesday. But Raid Follower tells you who carried you there and how that audience dispersed afterward.
So it turns this chaotic web of isolated live streams into a readable map.
Precisely. A map of community support.
Okay, that completely clicks for me. It maps the lineage of support. But understanding the philosophy still leaves a massive logistical question.
The technical side.
Yeah, because Twitch is a fire hose. I mean, you have millions of streams, millions of chat messages, unpredictable audience surges.
That's a lot of data.
It is. How are they physically capturing a 10,000-person digital flash mob in real time without their servers literally catching on fire?
Well, the architecture they engineered is actually a brilliant exercise in causality.
Okay, break that down for me.
The system doesn't try to just record the whole internet. That would be impossible.
Right.
Instead, it uses a highly targeted chain reaction. The core of the platform relies on three distinct parts working together: Event Sub, the Twitch API, and IRC.
Okay, let's walk through that chain reaction because the mechanism is vital here.
Go for it.
So Event Sub acts as the platform's tripwire.
Yes, exactly.
It's just constantly listening to Twitch, waiting for a specific trigger like a stream going live or a raid initiating. It hears the bang of the event.
Right, the initial spark.
But Event Sub doesn't hold all the deep context, so it immediately taps the Twitch API on the shoulder.
And the API is essentially your database lookup.
Right.
Event Sub says, hey, a raid just happened. And the API pulls the specific channel IDs, the metadata, the exact viewer counts.
Got it. Tripwire fires, API gets the details.
But here's where it gets really technically impressive. During a massive raid, the destination channel's chat room just descends into absolute chaos.
It's just a blur of text.
People are spamming emotes, they're following, they're throwing down subscriptions, gifting subs. It's madness. And the standard API can sometimes lag, or it might miss the nuance of that hyper-condensed financial support.
Which is exactly why they integrated IRC. Yeah. For those who don't know, Internet Relay Chat, or IRC, is the foundational raw text protocol that Twitch chat actually runs on behind the scenes.
Correct. So by tapping directly into that IRC stream, Raid Follower is essentially skimming the raw chat room data in real time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's skimming it specifically to catch those subscription events, the financial support that happen in the immediate chaotic aftermath of the raid.
So it's a much closer, faster read of the room than waiting for some API to aggregate the data later.
Exactly. And finally, all of these signals, you've got the tripwire, the API context, the raw chat events, they all get safely filed away into Slikelight.
And eventually they appear on this fast, unified dashboard timeline.
You got it.
Okay, so we have this highly efficient engine. It catches the event, adds the context, reads the chat. But wait, that still leaves an enormous blind spot.
What do you mean?
Well, the Twitch ocean is vast. Even if the engine is super efficient, if the platform is just passively listening, how does it know who to aim this machinery at? Like, you can't track everyone. Who goes on the watch list to trigger the event sub in the first place?
Okay, that leads us to one of the most ingenious parts of the whole system. The developers call it the raid chain story.
The raid chain story.
Yeah. The platform does not rely on a static, manually updated watch list.
Oh, really?
No, the tracking grows organically. It's an automatic discovery engine.
Wait, so it automatically follows the raid itself? Like, it essentially maps the community using the audience's own footprints?
That is exactly what it does.
That is so cool.
Right. The platform starts with a seed, just a known channel or a small group of core channels within the Neuroverse.
Okay.
When one of those core channels initiates a raid, the platform tracks the event, and it follows the raid to the destination channel.
Ah.
If that destination channel was an unknown indie streamer who wasn't on the watch list before, well, they are now.
Wow.
By simply following the chain of raids from one channel to the next, the platform automatically discovers new streamers. It's a self-growing network.
That drastically changes how we think about analytics.
Doesn't it?
Because the platform is mapping the community in the exact same way the viewers are experiencing it. The big channels raid the smaller channels, and Raid Follower just happily walks down that path behind them, bringing those newly discovered creators into the tracked memory layer.
And when you let an organic discovery engine like that run loose, the scale it achieves in a very short amount of time reveals something profound about the Neuroverse.
The scale is wild.
The data captured during the March launch phase is just staggering.
Let's dig into those numbers because this completely reframes the scale of these live video communities.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Keep in mind, for you listening, this data only covers about half a month from March 14 to March 30.
Right, just a few weeks.
By the end of that tiny window, the platform had organically expanded to track 40 distinct channels.
Wow.
And in just those 16 days, it recorded 11,114 raids and 300 stream starts.
But the human engagement metrics are where the true story lies.
Oh, definitely.
From the sources, they recorded 101,626 viewer samples.
Nuts.
Plus 49,811 follower samples, and 3,749 individual subscription events captured straight from that raw IRC flow.
Which generated over 156,000 total data rows.
But here's the kicker. To put that in perspective, the total number of viewers moved through those 1,114 raids was 672,170.
That is nearly 700,000 viewer movements in just over 2 weeks.
And the single largest raid they tracked, it moved 10,225 viewers in one fell swoop.
I mean, just think about the implications of that 700,000 number.
It's massive.
It means that within the Neuroverse ecosystem, audiences are not static.
No.
They aren't just passively sitting in one channel all day.
Yeah.
This is an active, migrating, nomadic tribe. The viewers are constantly flowing from one creator to the next.
Sharing attention and support.
Exactly. It fundamentally changes how we view streamer growth.
Right, because if you're an indie creator in this network, your growth isn't necessarily about fighting the algorithm to get strangers to click your thumbnail.
No, it's about community.
Your growth is entirely dependent on participating in this massive, migrating river of viewers. Raid Follower basically proves that the community is literally sharing an audience of hundreds of thousands of people.
It's incredible.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, capturing that nomadic movement required a very careful rollout.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't just turn it all on at once.
Exactly. If we look at the timeline in the launch notes, the launch phase was actually a sequenced, strategic deployment of features.
A sequence of victories, really.
Yeah. The seed tracking and the raid chain discovery engine started on March 14th.
Okay.
A week later, on March 22, the follower data tracking went live.
Right.
And finally, on March 30, the IRC-based sub-event data hit production.
It's sort of like setting up a complex security system, you know?
How do you mean?
Well, like, first week, they turned on the motion sensors, which is the structural raids.
Oh, I like that.
The second week, they added the thermal cameras, the followers. And then by the end of March, the microphones were finally turned on to catch the granular sub-events. Suddenly, boom, they had a full, high-definition picture of the network.
That's a great analogy. And the source notes explicitly point out that the end of March was the highest volume period for data collection.
Which makes sense.
Right. It wasn't because the community suddenly became more active out of nowhere. It was simply the moment all those distinct tracking signals were finally turned on at once.
Well, with the engine fully assembled, tested, and humming along at maximum capacity by the end of March, the conversation naturally shifts.
To what's next?
Exactly. The focus of the launch notes shifts dramatically toward the future. And what happens when we let this thing run at full speed?
And the developers place a massive emphasis on April 2026.
Here's where it gets really interesting. April 1st, 2026 is the critical milestone because it marks the very first day of the first full follow and sub-tracking month.
Right. March was the proving ground.
Yeah, they brought the system online piece by piece. But April is where the true capability of the platform is fully unleashed.
From day one to the last day, there will be absolutely no gaps in the telemetry.
None. Every single raid, every follow, and every sub across that organically growing network will be captured.
But, and this raises an important question, capturing a full month of uninterrupted data creates a whole new problem.
Yeah, the server load.
Exactly. If you are tracking a nomadic tribe of 700,000 viewer movements across dozens of channels, the sheer weight of that data can become unmanageable.
It's just too heavy.
So the notes detail that the immediate post-launch engineering focus is all about optimization.
Right.
Specifically, they mentioned SQL packaging.
SQL packaging, which I know might sound like dry database maintenance.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's actually critical for the community experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when you're building a memory layer for a community, that memory needs to be retrieved instantly.
Right. If a user logs into the dashboard to trace the lineage of that massive 10,000 viewer raid, trying to see exactly which smaller channels benefited down the line, the system has to pull an immense amount of interconnected data.
And nobody wants to wait 20 seconds for a web page to load while the database churns through hundreds of thousands of rows of history.
No one has the patience for that.
No. So SQL packaging translates to fewer database requests and much tighter data payloads. It's just about making the front-end experience lightning fast.
So the community can actually interact with this history without the platform crashing under its own weight.
Exactly. And this technical focus, this optimization, is what enables the ultimate goal of Raid Follower.
Which is?
Well, the notes clearly state that the project is officially moving from baseline tracking into continuous growth analytics.
Ah, yes. Continuous growth analytics.
What does that actually look like in practice for this community, though? How is it different from what they were already doing in March?
Well, baseline tracking simply asks, did the stream go up? Continuous growth analytics asks a much deeper sociological question. It allows us to look at retention over time.
Oh, I see.
So if streamer A hits streamer B with a 5,000 viewer raid, we don't just record the spike on that day.
Right.
With a full, uninterrupted month of data, we can look 3 weeks down the line and ask, what percentage of those 5,000 viewers actually stayed?
Oh, wow.
Did they become regular followers? Did they subscribe? We stop looking at isolated events and we start analyzing long-term trends and cross-pollination rates.
That transforms the data entirely. It goes from a simple historical ledger into an active living narrative of the Neuroverse.
Exactly.
We can finally see the long-tail effects of generosity within the community.
Yes, that human story.
When a massive creator decides to drop their audience on an unknown indie streamer, we can actually measure how that single act alters the trajectory of the smaller channel over the course of a whole month.
And that is the exact narrative we're going to be exploring as this monthly series moves forward.
I can't wait.
Because we will have these rich, full-month data sets, our future deep dives are going to be able to unpack exactly how these communities support each other. We'll see who the central hubs of the network are, and how indie creators leverage these migratory audiences to build sustainable careers.
It's honestly a totally new way of looking at the creator economy. It proves that nobody is truly broadcasting in isolation.
Not at all.
Every channel is just one node in a massive interconnected nervous system of attention.
You know, as we wrap up this initial exploration of the launch, there is a broader implication here that I think is really worth reflecting on.
What's that?
We tend to think of the internet as permanent. We assume that because something happened digitally, it's archived forever.
Right, the internet is forever saying.
Exactly. But live video culture is actually deeply inherently fragile.
Oh, yeah.
It is a real-time performance that literally vanishes the second the broadcast ends. It makes you wonder, how many foundational moments in early digital communities, how many crucial raids that launched major creators are just completely lost to time simply because a tool like Raid Follower wasn't there to serve as a memory layer.
Oh, man. That is a really heavy thought. Entire histories of digital culture are just floating out there, totally undocumented and forgotten, just because nobody took a snapshot from the balcony.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for us today?
Well, at least for the Neuroverse, that history is finally being written down. The infrastructure is perfectly in place.
It really is.
The seed has been planted. The RAID chain discovery engine is actively mapping the network's footprints. The data is flowing cleanly, and the continuous analytics are shifting into high gear.
The memory layer is online, and those fragile moments are finally secure.
And we are going to be right here to read that memory for you.
Every single month. Yes. This is just the pilot of our ongoing coverage. From next month onward, we'll be back with the biggest events of each month, breaking down that full coverage data and uncovering the human stories hidden within the RAID chains.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the launch of Raid Follower. Until next time, keep exploring.